Yes, hello everyone. So my name is Rina Sirén, and Katarina already said some things, but I now have half an hour. I'm going to start with talking a little bit about Accenture, just so that you know the context. Then a little bit talk about me within Accenture, and then the mindfulness journey we have done in the domain of well-being. So this is basically what we are. We are a huge global company that have to do with professional services. So we really serve our clients, we help them transform. We really need to be able to listen to them, to understand what they need, and then we help them plan strategically, and we're actually one of the only partners who can be there end to end. So from planning to implementation, we will be there all the way. As you can see there, strategy, consulting, digital, technology, and operations. Some companies even outsource some of their functions to us. But in order to be able to do this well, we really need to be able to be present, to be able to listen to them, to be able to really get the insights from them, to be able to deliver what they need. So I think already here we start seeing that being mindful, being present, being able to listen is really key in what we do. Accenture in numbers a little bit. So globally, 373,000 people globally in 56 countries. We have clients in 120 countries. And in Finland, there's 1,400 of us. And then there is the net revenue. So it's quite a big company, but all we have is our people and their energy. So we don't have huge infrastructure, anything. We basically have our people and their energy. So we think about, we have the tasks we need to do, we have our people, but something is missing in that equation to get to the outcome. We really need to find out what is the energy of the people in order to get their knowledge, in order to get their talent to use. So there's something missing in that equation, and that's something that I have been thinking about for a long time. Because yes, our people and their energy is all we have. I was part of this sort of machinery. I was part of the resources being sold to the clients. I was a consultant. My background is from the University of Technology, and I really loved that domain. I got a lot of kicks out of working with the clients, but then after a few years I realized that I actually get more kicks out of something else. It was out of people, out of being able to create the best prerequisites so that we can perform, that we can deliver our work in a way that we do it in a very high quality way, high quality outcome, but so that it's not done on the expense of our well-being. And I really wanted to focus on this. So how do we do that? And since 2.5 years back, I have moved from business, become internal, now working as a full-time work well-being senior specialist. And in my domain, I work with well-being, but also very much strategic well-being, which is leadership development, which is everything that Lasse also talked about. This is a vision. This is the vision that I have in my heart, that I work towards every single day. So a thriving workforce equipped with a well-being mindset. And I think here also the meditative attitude is something that's very relevant in this well-being mindset. That produces excellent quality work. We always do excellent quality work. We have brilliant people, but the key word is there, in a sustainable way. We need our people to have energy today. We need them to have energy next week and just before the deadlines. But we also need them to have energy next year and in 5 years, and hopefully also have the energy to play with their grandkids at some point. So we really want to think about this strategically and long term. Another part, we really want to see well-being skills to be seen as a strategic part of professional competence, just because of the equation I talked about. We have our people and their talent and what we need to do, but without the energy, without the knowledge of how to use that and really recover and be able to use that, then the equation, well, the results aren't that good. And something we added there just a few months ago is the last part, leadership skills. We really need our leaders to be able to lead our people with a well-being mindset. And this is what I work towards every day. And in practice, this has also been turned into a process where we actually are able to translate well-being into numbers, because a lot of our leaders, they basically work with numbers. That's the language they talk, that's the language they speak. If you go there and talk about, I have a feeling, they might not have the capacity to understand that. So we needed to find a way to translate that into numbers so that we get a common ground, that we get a possibility to really communicate around this. And this is why we now base everything that we do in knowledge, which we get through a well-being survey that we do twice a year. And through getting the results from there, we are able to talk to our leaders. Of course, we don't get individual results, that would be illegal, so we have a partner doing this, but we get results from different groups, different projects, accounts, different units. So we are able to then go and talk to the leadership. So this is everything that you need to do, and this is how your team is doing. So what do we need to do about that? And it has really strengthened the whole positioning of well-being within Accenture. So we have better tools to communicate around that. And also what we can do is that we can manage our supplier base, the people we work with, the partners we work with when it comes to well-being, because we actually get the knowledge about what it is that we need. So this has been very helpful to integrate this process. And as a result, we hopefully then get the employee well-being experience in a very holistic way. We want to look at the mind, we want to look at the body, we want to understand nutrition, all of these things that really impact our the way we are able to perform. And what we really want to do, we want to install this battery in our people. We want to hard code processes without forcing them to do something that we tell them to do, but through actually growing self-knowledge, through growing self-awareness, through growing self-leadership skills, self-management skills. I think that is key. Just like Lasse said, we can't prescribe something to someone. We need to get them to be able to find out what they need to really calibrate their inner navigator. So in the long run, we want to install this battery. We want everyone to have an understanding about what it is to optimize their energy. The lower part there, it has to do with sleeping, it has to do with eating, it has to do with exercising, very sort of basic things that still seem to be so hard to do in practice. We have people delivering extremely complex solutions to clients, but still they can't eat or exercise or sleep right. So there's a slight... So we really want to talk about that, raise awareness around that, but then having a strong mind. What is that? People are, okay, so how do I train that? I understand I need to eat right, I need to sleep, go to the gym, but what is that? So we have taken the approach of a little bit looking in more detail into that. We have divided into resilience, the ability to bounce back when something happens, because our brain, it operates on expectation. Each time something unexpected happens, there's a stimulus response thing happening. So we want to build resilience there so that we bounce back. Recovery, not only sleeping, but making sure that we really build in this recovery into the work days, that people understand that they need psychosocial recovery processes every day, that they really take care of themselves, take care of their social work, take care of their things that you don't take care of at the gym. And then we also need people to be able to focus, because that really defines the quality of the outcome. And if we look at these, this was sort of where my mind was, and I was thinking about this, so how do we do this? And then about 5 years ago, I stumbled across mindfulness, and I thought, okay, this might be a tool that works for some people. Like Lasse said, it might not work for everyone, but it's worth a try. So the mindfulness journey started in 2011 when I got excited about this, and I was like, hey, let's do this mindfulness thing. And people are like, right. Rina's been on some strange course. Okay, well, let her do this. So then I organized it myself. I had trained on my own, and I just thought that, hey, this might work here. And then I organized something. I actually took a risk of losing professional credibility there, because I know the environment that was also, like in one of the questions. But I did it anyway, and actually there was a lot of people signing up so much more than I expected, a lot more men than I had expected. We have a lot of men there at Accenture. So I was like, okay. And from that, it has just grown. I did some workshops around this without having the formal training, so I probably didn't do it the right way, but still I felt that this is something that I want to raise awareness around. And then in late 2014, I met Eva Jaakonsalo, who had just founded the company Andas, and I went to her breakfast seminar and I was like, yes, this is someone I can take to our management team. Now I have found the right person to deliver the message on a completely new level. So I persuaded one of the management team members to go to another breakfast seminar so that we would get the buy-in from there. So he got excited. Okay, of course, that also was a risk, but then everything turned out well. So he took the initiative to our management team. And then in January 2015, we launched the first pilot for our management team in Accenture, Finland. That was followed by a pilot in HR. Then we have had several groups on senior manager level. In some difficult projects, we have had groups. And we are now expanding. Right now, during this year, we're going to go to the manager level. So we started at the top and really cascading down. And at the same time, I'm still delivering one-off introductions, workshops around this, just to spread awareness around this. So this has been our journey this far when it comes to this. And some of the questions that I thought that can make sense to think about when you're thinking about launching this at organizations. So first of all, what is it that you are tackling with this? What is it that you want to achieve with this? Then who is the sponsor of mindfulness? And I'm not talking money-wise now, but who do you get to talk about it in a way so that you actually overcome the obstacles that were mentioned in one of the questions, all the cynical people who think that it's just a waste of time. And yeah, so who do you get to sponsor that, and how do you get the right people involved, the buy-in in the right places? And also, I don't believe in really selling it, but trying to still create an atmosphere where people are open for anything, and at least try. And then if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. Where can mindfulness be integrated? Are you currently running some kind of a cultural change program, some leadership training, some well-being initiatives, just anything where it could make sense to plug that in as a part? And then, how will it be kept alive? So you do programs, what then? What happens then? How do you integrate it to the culture? How do you create your mindfulness story? So how do you do that? So these are some of the things that it's good to think about. Lessons learned, if we talked about, or if we think about that a little bit, I think you need to be really patient. It's not something you do overnight, sort of slowly watching how your organization is maturing when it comes to this, finding the right people, finding the people who are a little bit interested, who can then help you drive this agenda. I think that is very crucial. And right now, science is backing us up. As we saw in Lasse's presentation, it's everywhere, so you can't have missed it, and that makes it easier also to drive that agenda. Some results that we have had. This is just an example. As said, we have run several trainings within this. Examples of how it has affected quality of sleep, ability to focus, control over stress, and awareness in everyday life. So this happens, it's 2 weeks in between these modules. So I think it's very interesting to see that already awareness in everyday life, about being able to see those feelings, for example, that Lasse talked about, being able to build in that space between stimulus and response. A prerequisite for that is being aware. So that has already huge impact in only 2 weeks of training. And in all the other ones also. It really, I think in this, you can trust the process. You don't have to believe it. You can try it, see if it works for you. But I think this is some good evidence also. In my world, in Accenture, we need measures and evidence for everything, even if we know that the most important things cannot be measured in life. But still, that's the world I live in there. Another thing, I also talked about self-compassion. And look at this. This is self-compassion measurements before and after training. Trainings that were delivered by Anders. Maybe you can't see all the small prints, but that's not what's relevant here. But still you can see the before is the blue and the after is the red. So only within 8 weeks your self-compassion is actually growing. And if there is one thing that a leader needs to do before becoming compassionate towards others, it's becoming compassionate towards self. So it really starts there. And mindfulness for us, it really started with this well-being initiative that I wanted to drive. It wasn't really integrated anywhere, it was just me being excited about this. But it has really grown, it has evolved, we have received a lot of buy-in, and currently what we are doing is that we have integrated into a leadership program that we run on a Nordic level called Growing Authentic Leaders, where we are equipping our managers with these kind of skills that it really goes deep into developing our leaders from the inside out, really make them do introspection, really help them grow based on that, becoming really strong, congruent leaders who know what their values are, who stand for that, and who can be in really, really tough situations with clients or others, but still be very grounded because their roots are so strong. So this is something that we really believe in, and we are disrupting actually right now how we work with leadership development. Before it was a lot about equipping people with techniques, but that doesn't really work. So you need to go deeper than that. And if we look at the foundation for yesterday's leadership, you need to know stuff. You needed to be able to be fast, and then you need to have the experience. But that has changed because complexity has come to stay. We need to learn to live with this. And the ones who actually win in that game are the people who are able to stop, are able to focus, who are able to get the clarity to be able to elicit what's really important, what really is important for the client, to really be able to listen, prioritize, and, very important factor, also have compassion towards others. So it has changed a lot, and I think one of the ways that we can strengthen that foundation for today's leadership is, for example, through developing mindfulness or raising awareness around that. So now there is time for questions. That was our journey when it comes to this, and we are still on that and really hoping that we will continue on that same road. When we started to work with Anders, we used their program. It's an 8-week program. It was a classroom session once per month, but what's really the most important is that we have the people do the practices once per day, 15 minutes. So that's basically once per week. They get some theory, they get to practice in a classroom and also team building there, and then practicing on their own with an app. Yeah, actually, we don't look at mindfulness as a relaxation. We actually see it as an ability to focus. So not really a relaxation technique, but a way to develop your mind to be able to focus. So you can be very energetic yet mindful at the same time. But doing one thing at a time, that usually helps to get results. Yeah, that's a good question. We are currently working on a Nordic level. We haven't really much yet spread the word about this. It was just last month on a global well-being call that it was launched, or we talked about what we are doing on a Nordic level, so we will see now what the interest is. More and more we are talking about the fact that we cannot always be on, and we need to do something about that. And I think mindfulness is one good, quite a pragmatic candidate for actually remedying that. Okay, that can be a wide question. For me, yeah, I'm talking now. For me, what mindfulness is the ability to be present, to be able to notice things in your environment without judgment. That's really, for me, what the definition is. And what you do in practice, the easiest way to say is just concentrate on something. Just concentrate on your breathing, for example. That's a good way to start. Okay, my quick calculation in my head now is about 10%. But we have only done so managing director, senior executive, and now moving to managers.
Okay, and then the training you have had, it has been sort of here and there.
Yeah, and if we talk about that's only one-off sessions, then we have probably reached already close to half of our people. What we're doing with mindfulness is very much now, we're integrating that into leadership development, which is going towards growing authentic leaders, which has to do with the inside-out approach, which is based on growing emotional intelligence. And when it comes to the positivity, we have transformed our whole performance management system, and it's now completely strength-focused. So we have, definitely integrating positive psychology, and that's actually happening on a global level. That's being cascaded down from global. So I see now that we are sort of, it comes both from global and we're developing locally, and that's merging now. Yeah, that's very interesting, and actually there has been some articles now really underlining that, okay, it can be dangerous to go there because you can uncover some, unpleasant things and so on. As I see it, again, just talking from a personal perspective, for me it's very much more pragmatic. So just focusing on what you do, just developing your ability to concentrate. It might not go that deep in the courses that we do. Then if it goes, then it's up to the mindfulness instructor to be able to help you and support you to maybe seek go to occupational health care or so on to take that issue there if something like that arises. That's what we are trying to do. We're really trying to get people to find the value in what they do, find the meaning in what they do, and if they don't find that meaning, then make sure that they do something in their free time that actually is one part of the psychosocial recovery process of doing meaningful things. But I think that by job crafting, that's something that we also encourage people to do, really think about their work in a different way. So then we take in tools like job crafting or other things, but what we want people to focus on is their strengths and being able to use those every day.
So thank you, Rina, for this.